The NFL Combine is over with. We have some risers, we have some fallers, but to gauge this, let's do a quick one-round rookie mock draft to see where these guys are at. And it's going to be one QB. That way we get a good look of the skilled positions. The first player we're going to look at, we know who it is. We know who's going to be the first player off the board in one QB. That's Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. Ran a 4.46 40-yard dash at the Combine. Came in at a good weight. He is a top 5 player in startup drafts still. Should be the top player in rookie drafts right now in 1QB. There's no way he's moving down. He had a good performance. He looked good in the drills. He looked good overall. And he has solidified himself as the top guy. But now we're getting to the 102, the second pick. Things are getting a little bit interesting. But the guy I want to look at today, and he increased his stock with his 40 time, is Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama. Listed at 5'9" and 199 pounds. There's size concerns, but his BMI is more than good enough. He ran a 4.36 40-yard dash. That was his official time. He was drawing comparisons to Alvin Kamara. But the thing is, he measured in faster. He's a little bit smaller, but he measured in a lot faster than Alvin Kamara. He's good at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's got some juice. He's got some speed. And he was productive at 2 different collegiate programs. He was good at Georgia Tech, and he was good at Alabama. So it's all systems go from what we saw from Jahmyr Gibbs over the weekend. At the 103 position, it's time to select our first wide receiver. Our first wide receiver is going to come off the board here, and he did not run the 40, which is okay with me, and that's Jaxon Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. He did not run the 40, but he was elite. He dominated in the agility drills. He killed the 3-cone. He did well on the 20-yard shuttle, and he looks like he is going to be the stout wide receiver 1 in this year's class. But rolling over to the 4th pick in this draft, the 104, we got another wide receiver, and he's probably going to be drafted in the 1st round, which he should be. Did well at the Combine, but also didn't run, and that's Quentin, Johnston, wide receiver from TCU. Didn't run at the Combine, but had a 40.5-inch vertical, jumped out the building, and had 11.2-inch broad jump. Made some huge catches in the drills, really showed his vertical there too, and the dude looked explosive, also has good size to his frame, and with everything else together, this just solidifies him as a good wide receiver prospect to go after. The next player off the board at the 105 spot, 5th player off the board in this mock draft, is the other wide receiver pegged to go in the 1st round, and that's Addison, wide receiver from USC, formerly from Pitt. He ran a 4.49 40-yard dash at 173 pounds. There are some concerns with that. Also had a 34-inch vertical. He kind of slid down the board a little bit here because the other wide receivers showed more upside. But the thing is, he's probably still going to be drafted in the 1st round. His production profile is stout. He was very productive at Pitt. Helped Kenny Pickett get drafted in the 1st round. Showed some production at USC. Looked good on tape. So he really shouldn't fall too much, if at all. Just, if anything, it just lets you know what you're getting at from a physical standpoint. But we should look at this guy as an elite production with elite draft capital, which is something you want in your rookie drafts. Moving on to the 106, 6th player off the board. We're going back to the running back well. This guy did not blow up the Combine, but he did everything he needed to do, and he did what we were seeing on tape with his athleticism, and that's Charbonnet from UCLA, formerly from Michigan. He measured in at 6 foot, 214 pounds, and ran a 4.53, which is very comparable to what we saw on tape. He looks heavier on tape, to be honest with you, but at 214, that's still a good weight. He might have slimmed down for the Combine, but I don't want to speculate too much. Also had a 37-inch vertical. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. That demonstrates he's got some burst, demonstrates he's got some ups, demonstrates he's got some pop off the step, which, when you come to think about it, when you go look at the tape, moves laterally well, has a lot of inertia at the point of contact, really gets the top end speed pretty quickly for his size. Sometimes those bigger backs, when they get to top end speed, it's harder to see but he has measured that. He's a 3-down grinder and can catch the ball in the backfield. Gets the draft capital, and you got a running back that you're going to want. He might even pump up boards higher than this. At the 107, we have a wide receiver who's been climbing, and he's climbing even more since the combine because he did what he needed to do, and that was Zay Flowers from Boston College. He ran a 4.42 40-yard dash at 182 pounds. He's a thick wide receiver compared to all the other small wide receivers in this year's class. Also had a 35.5-inch vert. He compares a lot to Tyler Lockett, and his game's very comparable too. Not just the measurements. He gets downfield, catches the ball, he's nuanced, he can create separation with his route running, moves laterally very well, good short area quickness. A lot of good things we're seeing from Zay Flowers. Also, when you watched him in the interviews, he carries himself very well. He's a prospect that's on the rise. It might even go higher, depending on where he goes in drafts. At the 108, the 8th player off the board here, we have another wide receiver who is doing good enough to really help his stock, and he's got a good portfolio coming from his collegiate career. And we're talking about Josh Downs, wide receiver from North Carolina. He ran a 4.48 40-yard dash at 171 pounds. So he's a smaller wide receiver, but from watching him on tape, looking at slot rate, we can already tell that he's going to be pegged to play in the slot at the NFL level. So nothing really new to see here. He had a 38.5-inch vert, which makes a lot of sense because he was monster when it came to contested catches. The ball was in the air, he would snatch it. Even though he's just 171 pounds, it doesn't matter because he can rise up. Also, it means that he's very explosive, allows him to get in and out of his breaks real quickly. That's something you want to see, and that makes him a slot receiver that can be productive, that can be dynamic. Had an early breakout age in college, good production all the way through. Something you want to see. This guy's a slot receiver plus. Moving on to our next pick at the 109, 9th pick off the board, and we're going running back. And I really wish we could have saw more from him, but we have to take what we got here, and that's Sean Tucker, running back from Syracuse. Did not participate in the 40. There are some concerns with his size because he listed at 5'9" and 207 pounds, but it's not overwhelming either, so it's okay. But he was very productive in college. His year in 2021, he had a ton of rushing yards, a lot of upside, and then this year, he upped it in the passing game, catching more balls, running more routes, splitting out in the slot more, so he's really a dynamic asset who can run between the tackles, catch the ball in the backfield, and has the speed to take it home. Once we see him run on his pro day, we'll get a good idea of where he's being tested at when it comes to his speed. I got another running back here. He's being drafted at the 110 spot. We didn't get to see him test on his speed. The tape's letting us know that he's got some juice in the legs. That's Kendre Miller, running back from TCU. He did not do any drills at the combine. I still think he did well at the combine because he measured in at 5'10", 215 pounds. So he's got that size to be a 3-down guy. Also has that size and speed ratio that we see from the tape to be electric. We just need it tested. We might see that from the pro day if we get to that. And remember, he had that injury at the back half of the season that really slowed him down, so you can't really put that against him. But at least he came in with the size that we know that if he gets the opportunity, if he plays well, he could be a 3-down grinder. And if he gets draft capital, he's going to be up there. He's going to jump up to the first round of rookie drafts. At the 111, we're going back to the wide receiver well. Some people are really fascinated with his combine scores because there was a lot of hype that he did not reach, but he did do well, and that's Jalin Hyatt from Tennessee. He posted a 4.4 40-yard dash at 6 foot, 176 pounds. Many people were expecting him to run in the 4.3s, maybe even hit the 4.2s, so that seems underwhelming for a lot of folk. And that makes sense because he's projected to be the deep threat of the class. He's projected to be the burner. At 4.4, it's still good enough. It's good enough to get the job done. May not be electric, but it gets the job done. He did have a 40-inch vertical and 11.3 broad jump. That means he's got bursts for days, quick off the step, pop off the line of scrimmage. That allows him to get to that top speed quickly, which could aid him going forward at the NFL level, especially if it's pegged as the deep threat for his NFL team. So even though he doesn't post that 4.3 speed at the combine or 4.2 speed, whatever you were hoping for, we do have some good things in his numbers, and that's from his burst score. Really high numbers at that rate. finishing up this mock draft at the 112. Got a big riser here. He's been rising all offseason, and he solidified that with his combine numbers, and that's Marvin Mims, wide receiver from Oklahoma. Huge riser from the combine, comes in here, runs a 4.38 at 5'10" and 183 pounds, so he's got some thickness compared to the other smaller wide receivers, and he's got more speed. Broke out at age 19 at Oklahoma. There was some craziness there with Spencer Rattler not playing well, leaving town. Then he came in that last year, and Marvin Mims still played well, had some amazing catches on his resume. The fact that he comes into the combine and just blows up the track, looks good, and then we watch his tape, and we see him winning downfield. We see him winning by breaking down routes. We see him winning at the catch point, making big catches. This is only good to note, and you're getting a dynamic player here that could be a solid wide receiver 2 for an NFL team that gets air yards on a weekly basis that could help you out in fantasy. But let's recap this 1 round, 1 QB rookie mock draft. The 101 was Bijan Robinson, with the 102 being Jahmyr Gibbs. At 103, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. At the 104, we have Quentin, Johnston. The 105, Jordan, Addison. And then at the 106, Zach Charbonnet. 107, we drafted Zay Flowers. But then at the 108, we drafted Josh Downs. At the 109, we went with Sean Tucker. And then at 110, we drafted Kendre Miller. At 111, we took Jalin Hyatt. Then we finished the draft at the 112 spot with Marvin Mims. Make sure you check out DynastyLeagueFootball.com and 4for4.com for more fantasy football content. And while you're here, I know you're looking for more ideas to make trades with. Make sure you smash this video right here to check that out. That way you get some more information to help you make your next Dynasty trade. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.